This is You're in the Right Place podcast with your host, me, Ebony Kira. Welcome to another episode of You're in the Right Place podcast. I am your host, Ebony Kira, and I have none other than Media Girls Network founder herself, journalist extraordinaire, my girl, Jelisa.
I'm so excited to be here. So, yes, let's get into some things.
Let's get into all of the things, okay? So as we jump right into it, darling, I'm going to let you introduce yourself for those who may not know, because I know. Okay, this is the one you in Atlanta. This is the one you need to be with. Okay, so like, oh here, let me let you do the one too. Yeah, the honors.
Okay, my name is Jelisa Racquel. I'm a 14-time award-winning journalist, and I'm also a publicist. I have an agency here in Atlanta called Media Girls Marketing and PR, as well as a community where we give back and pour into the next generation of leaders in the media and entertainment business. It's called Media Girls Network, and we've been doing our thing for about 10 years now. We established the first Black Media Entertainment Day in Fulton County, and we've been able to really impact a lot of heavy hitters as well as help a lot of women break into this industry. So super excited about the legacy that we're building here.
Let's speak about legacy. We could segue right into legacy. So creating this, how did you come up with creating such a dope platform to bring on the Black professionals, entrepreneurs, and Black women in media?
Absolutely. I felt like after I graduated from college, I really just organically created what was missing. When I first started, Media Girls Network was never it was never supposed to be a network. We got here by God, kind of directing and narrating my path, because when I first started, it was called Blogging Beauties. It was called Blogging Beauties Network. And the first year, it was just basically, I was trying to meet other women that were doing the same thing I was doing in different cities. I was trying to figure out how to go to the BET Awards. I was trying to figure out how to get access to a lot of the mainstream media events that I did not have access to at the time. And so I was like, okay, I want to, meet other women that's doing the same thing in the industry. It doesn't have to be so competitive. Everything doesn't have to be girl versus girl. It's only room for one. We way past that, and we're way stronger together. And so it was really crazy. I was working my job. The last job I had was 10 years ago, right before I launched this vision. And I was at work that day, and I was planning to make my first trip to CIAA once I got off, to produce a meetup that I really just came up with the plan 3 weeks before I did it.
Okay.
I found a venue to sponsor us in Charlotte, and I put together some women in media, put together some graphics. Now thinking back at how much I've grown, they were really, really bad, and I thought they were good at the time. Probably made them in PixArt. And I decided, I'm going to do a meetup in Charlotte, just like it was like a vision board party and a meeting of women in media. Didn't know what I was doing, just knew I was going down there. Hey, y'all meet me here. This is what we're going to do. Put out a little ticket. That's what I did. And it was so crazy. The day that I was supposed to leave to go to Charlotte, I got laid off from my job.
Okay.
So when I got laid off, I had already planned to go to Charlotte that day. Like I was like, we was hitting the road as soon as I got off work. So baby, when I got laid off, I didn't miss a beat. I didn't think anything about that job. I was like, I got my first event. I'm on the road. I'm headed to Charlotte. Like, I forgot I was even employed once I left out that building. Like, it was a thing of the past.
Yes.
And so we head to Charlotte. We do our meetup. And it was successful. It was just a cute little meetup of women that was in town for CIAA. And from that one day, it was just like, okay, I'm going to do it again.
How many women was in that meetup?
I want to say our first meetup, it might have been maybe like 20, 30 women.
Okay.
It was a good turnout for something I just decided to do at the last minute and really didn't have no idea what I was truly doing. But from us doing that meetup, the vision just continued to grow. We started doing the meetups every year doing CIAA. And then I was like, well, I want to make it more inclusive. So I need to rebrand it from Blogging Beauties. This was like 2019.
Okay.
2020, I'm like, we need to rebrand. So in 2019, we rebranded from Blogging Beauties to Media Girls Network because I wanted to include not only bloggers, but real professionals, journalists, YouTubers. I wanted to just be overall inclusive.
Okay.
As a journalist, sometimes when you see bloggers or blogging, they feel a way about that. Because, yes, we worked very hard for these degrees and these accolades, and so I understood that. And so I wanted to be able to reach my people, so we rebranded. 2019, we rebranded. It was successful, and I actually started kind of formulating it into a community, a network. Because before, we would just do these meetups, and I would only post on the Instagram page whenever we were hosting the events. So we probably had like 4,000 followers around like 2020.
Yes.
On the page, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna be more consistent. But it wasn't until 2020 when COVID happened. That is what changed the game, because we had the biggest event of CIAA in March of 2020. We had the biggest event. Every celebrity that was in town was there. It was all over the news. It was all over the radio. We went on the TV. It was going up. I'm like, oh my God, my momentum was so high. I'm like, oh, we about to do this every month. We're going to all the cities. Literally, we sold out Charlotte. The next day, the world shut down. COVID happened. I'm like, what in the...
The pivot.
Like, literally, we went from having the biggest in-person event, sold out, room to wall to wall, and then now you're telling me I can't do in-person events.
Right.
So then I was trying to like, dang, what do I do now? How am I going to make my money? How are we going to continue to build a community? How is this going to grow?
Absolutely.
And that is actually what really birthed the real community that is now known as Media Girls Network, because I had to learn how to communicate with our audience without being in front of their faces from behind the computer screen. I had to realize how am I going to reach them? How am I going to communicate with them? How are we still going to do something this whole year, not knowing it was going to be the whole year that it was going to be shut down, but it was just, COVID was such a life-changing thing. And it really grew us, and it helped us for the better, because then we started creating pockets of community in different cities, doing virtual meetups, virtual workshops, doing ebooks. It just really enlarged my vision so much because I had to pivot.
Yes.
And I thank God for that. Everything else has just been an act of faith, because I've been pouring my own resources into this, my own funds. Everyone know, with Black-owned businesses, it's very hard to get funding behind this. And when I started Media Girls, now we see all these different communities.
Yes.
Let's be very clear, baby.
About to clock some tea, I feel it.
Please, yes, the tea will be clocked. There was not all these other media communities. There was not all these other communities, period. There might have been one business community that was flourishing back then, but there was nothing for media and entertainment. That's why I created it, because I felt like it was something that was missing.
I agree.
And we clearly inspired a whole generation of other media communities to rise from what we did. So we definitely love being the blueprint. But yeah, we were the first to do it. Let's just put that on record. And not only, it's not always about being first. I feel like even though there are so many other communities now, and there are some other great media companies, networks that you can network with as well, but I feel like we are the most impactful, and we're everywhere.
Literally.
And I say this because I've had women that have left from some of those other communities that have come to our communities, and they brag to us so much about the difference and why they're here, because they really get in the field with us. I'm holding their hands, taking them into these events. I'm making sure they get access. They're getting that sense of career coaching and care for their actual needs and wants that they are trying to reach with their career that they felt like they were missing. As in with other communities, it's kind of just like, oh, okay, they feed them a nugget or two or whatever. There's no real interaction. You don't know anybody from those communities. Nobody from those communities you can name. But if you come to Media Girls, baby, we got OGs now. Yes. There's women that came here that you did not know before they became Media Girls that now they're hosting. They're on the news. They have their own platforms. They have their own podcasts.
I'm a witness to that.
So, baby, I feel like when you say you're a boss, you can only really truly be a boss when you can see the work and the impact that you've had on other people.
I agree.
So I may not be on all of the fanciest red carpets and may not be getting all the clout-driven opportunities, but, baby, when the people speak for you and your name is in rooms that you're not even in, that's how you know you're making real impact. We're building real community. These women feel so loved. They feel so welcomed. And a lot of them, sometimes, it's not the ones that are transitioning straight from college into the industry. Sometimes it may be a 30-something media girly who's circling back after leaving another industry and wanting to pivot and still having her love and dream of wanting to work in media. We're here for you, too.
Absolutely.
And so that's what I love about our community, because we have so much bright talent that I feel like otherwise would go unnoticed or under the radar Just because in this day and age, everyone is so into social media and into who has the followers and who has this and who has that. And when you do that, you miss out on a lot of gems.
You do.
You miss out on a lot of gems.
Absolutely.
I can name so many people that people would not believe how far back the relationship goes. One person I'm going to speak on that we honored and we had on several of our events, and we also had her as on our first cover when we did our Lunch for Media Girls Mag, is a news producer, Lakia Starks.
Okay.
So when I met Lakia, we were on our maybe second or third year of doing the tour in Charlotte. Lakia was a producer for Fox 46 in Charlotte.
Okay.
That's how I met her. And when I met her, she didn't even have 1,000 followers. She might have had 800 followers on Instagram. I found her. What I was looking for was black women represented in the news field.
Okay.
And I found her. And I was like, okay.
It's not that many of us in that field.
Exactly. And so when I found her, I highlighted her on our platform. She brought us on the news in Charlotte. We had her speak and everything. And she told me, she said, you literally changed my life. From that day that I spoke on that panel, all these other opportunities and things just shifted. And, you know, and it was crazy. She was working at Fox 46 as a producer that weekend when we were down there in Charlotte to do Media Girls on Tour. That next weekend, she got hired at Fox 5 in Atlanta.
Come on.
Tell me that one, God.
Come on,
Moved her straight here to our market. And then she was advocating for me in Atlanta. So then I've been able to get, go on the news in Atlanta and also get my clients on the news in Atlanta. Just having people that actually know you genuinely support them. And it's not based off of clout because nobody had even knew who she was at that time when I discovered her. And so for her to come here in Atlanta and be welcomed, and now I'm putting her on bigger stages and having her getting awards at the City Hall and doing all these other amazing things, it just shows the gratitude and the growth in the relationship, and you just never know who you're going to find. Absolutely. And if I would have followed the rules that one of our partners wanted to do, which was, oh no, I only want people that got a certain amount of followers, I would have never discovered Lakia, and I would have never had her on our platform.
That's such a tricky thing with social media and the followers, because we look at now people that are getting on the red carpet and we're seeing instances like the baby face thing, and we're letting these people with the followers and the thing get on the platform, and you're like, hold on, how'd you get here? And no regular journalist or person who's doing what they were doing would have either asked these type of questions or acted in the manner that they matter. So
absolutely, things
like that, no matter education or not, when somebody knows what they're doing in this field, that's what you need to be putting on the map like that.
Absolutely. And y'all got to learn to build with the people that are directly across from you instead of always trying to clout chase or climb up. The greats, they build directly across from them, and then we rise together. And then one day we're the ones that are looked at the top as the greats. So build with the people across from you, because there's superstars right next door to you, and you're just not paying attention to them because you're too close. It's your friend, your cousin, someone you went to high school with, but the whole time you sleeping on them, and you could be grinding and coming up together.
Absolutely, absolutely. We spoke about impact and pivoting. That has kind of been the word here, which is kind of what I talk about too when I talked on my very first episode about moving here, pivoting from Chicago, and just getting so much more love here than I think I've ever would back home. Let's get into your personal story. Like, who is Jelisa Racquel before building such this big deal and this impactful situation to put people in place? So I need to know, who were you as a child? Who were you in high school? Who you were getting into college? Like, I need all of the things.
Yeah, I think, Lord, so much. I feel like I've always had this personality. Now that I look back and reflect over my life, I've always had this personality and this light about me that attracts people or makes people feel comfortable with me. I've been in the state, like, when I was in school coming up, I was in the church and praise dance. And I was very much raised in the church. And so I was always at church doing homework at church, everything. My parents were deacons, always at the church. I pretty much grew up there. And from the church, got into doing, plays, singing in a choir, dancing. I was always exploring my gifts and always, was passionate about creativity. I've never been like a very shy person.
Okay.
The funny thing about it is, it's like I'll do what I want to do, and I'll still be nervous and stuff, but I'll get out there and I'll do it.
Of course.
I mean, talking, reading and writing literature always has been a big part of me growing up. I've always loved it. And so I should have known that it was going to lead me here. I decided in the fourth grade that I wanted to do journalism because they took me on a field trip to the CNN Center and they let me be the one to get on the green screen and talk. And baby, I thought that was it.
Yes.
This is it, baby. This is my show. And that was it. I decided in the fourth grade, I want to be a news reporter. So when I first graduated from high school and I went to college, I was focused on news. I was working at a news station in Alabama, but I realized that it was boring for me. You couldn't show you enough. I have a lot of personality.
Yes.
And doing news in Alabama is like watching the grass grow. So it's like all my coworkers were 65-year-old white men. It was just like I did not identify with that the way I thought I would. But, I was like, I'm going to keep trying stuff. I like the writing. I like the finding, sourcing stories. Like, this has been me my entire life. I will say that. When in high school, my 11th and 12th grade year, I only went to my high school half a day because we had a program in my county where we could go to the technical college across school for half of the day if you got accepted into their program. They had a program where they would take in college students so we could learn certain tasks in certain fields before. So they had a journalism program. It was a full news studio that was over at the college. And I got accepted into the program. I was the only black person on it. I was in that program for 2 years, 11th and 12th grade. I worked in a full news studio. Before I graduated high school, I knew how to run and do every room, like every role in the actual newsroom, as far as sound, editing. But I was the person that was the on-camera talent for the school, but they made us learn every position.
Absolutely.
So I worked in the newsroom. I wrote for our school newspaper before I even graduated from high school. I had my words published in our Noonan Times Herald. And so I was the only black writer, so I felt like I was putting on for black girls, for black people in general. I was writing about my high school experience at the time. I was writing about prom. I was writing about the Boys and Girls Club, which I was an active member and a brand ambassador for the Boys and Girls Club growing up.
Yeah.
And so when I went to college, I didn't go to a HBCU. I went to Jacksonville State University. And I was so excited about trying to write for my school newspaper when I got there. And I laminated all my articles from the real newspaper I worked for in Noonan. I laminated my articles. I went into my interview with this 65-year-old white man. He gave me about 3 minutes. He looked at them articles and he said, we'll let you know. I felt like that man said, who this little black girl thinks she is coming in here with real news articles at the age of 17 years old? He probably ain't had nothing published. That's why he didn't get my articles but 3. You 65 ain't got your words published yet other than in the JSU Times, baby. So I was dismissed. And that was my first time, I think, because my mom always kept me in environments that were nurturing my growth. I was in pageants. I competed in the Georgia Teen USA pageant. I won pageant money to pay for college as a scholarship. My mom, 11th grade, my mom started putting me in pageants, and I was clocking that money for college. And so she always had me loved. I always knew I was loved. I always knew to walk in. I always had confidence, self-esteem. My mom poured into me and protected me a lot. And so going to JSU and being rejected, that was like really my first feeling of rejection. And I felt like it was because of racism. Because what you mean I can't write for the school paper? Baby, my words is in the Noonan Times Herald. Okay, love? And so, it messed with my self-esteem. I dealt with a lot of rejection at that school at the beginning because I felt like I had to get used to being in my new environment.
Yes.
But once I pledged my sorority and did all these other amazing things, I really owned who I was, and I was able to start making the same strides. But yeah, I never got to write for the school newspaper, none of that stuff. But I got real articles.
I know that's right.
I got real news clippings. So, I grew up in a very loving, nurturing environment where my mom always poured into me. And I think it's why it's so easy for me to pour into other women. Because I feel like if you're not raised by a hater, you can't be one.
Okay.
I was always raised with love and to show love and always poured into. So I thank my mom for that. I'm glad my mom was never a hater. You know what I'm saying? So it's like she showed me how to not be that girl.
Yes.
Now, being a grown adult, I think it's so weird when I see women at this age who don't know how to function in other groups of women or who don't know how to be a hater or a supporter. I think it's so weird when women are grown and they hate on the next woman. It's so unbecoming. But also, I always when I see that, I always think about their childhood. I wonder how they grew up. Because a
Yes.
lot of women that become haters as adults that can't support other women, they grew up in environments where they were constantly cut down or their wings were clipped.
I
And
agree.
so everybody didn't have the pleasure to grow up in a nurturing home or have a nurturing mother. I've heard nightmares of stories. And if you're not raised by a hater, you're gonna show love. And if you were, hopefully you're able to go to therapy and fix that so that you don't become a woman that can't stand next to the next woman without feeling less than.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
When you feel like you got to compete, then you constantly trying to find a way to dim someone else's shine, not realizing the more you make that next woman shine, you shine even more.
I just do find it very odd as women in our 30s and the fact that sometimes we can't really get along as we should as if we're that high school woman or that college girl, and it's always
So
a weird dynamic, and you get those stories where it's like, oh, I'm a woman and I've never really had real friends, or oh, I'm a woman and I've
scared of
only
them.
got two.
I be scared. I'm like, ooh, and I've heard this a lot. A lot of women open up to me because they be like, oh, you're the first. This is the first time I've ever even been in a social setting because I welcome them into my group. I welcome them into media girls, and then they're in all these different pockets of women all of a sudden because I have all these different social circles. But it's sometimes scary when I hear people say, oh, I've always had bad experiences with women, or I've never been in a good social circle. One, it makes me think, was it on you
Right.
or was it on them? Because
Right.
what do you mean you went 30 years and you don't have one
One real
relationship
friendship.
that you have been able to sustain for more
Then a year or two.
than a year or two? I've had the same friends since college. I've had the same friends since middle school, elementary. I still got the same best friend.
And locked in. I mean, I don't disagree. I do too. I have the same two best friends from high school. Then when you go into college, you get a new little set
a
of
new
best
set.
friends.
Then
And
you-
then you get in your 30, probably your late 20s into your early 20s. Now I have another new set because I've been moved to a
Exactly.
new city. And I'm just like, these are friends I've been friends with for 15 years.
Exactly.
I was like, how are we switching out friends left and right? At this point, it's death row over here. We've been friends.
Exactly,
We ain't
baby.
going nowhere. But it's too, a lot of people are not, what's the word I'm looking for? They're not talked or nurtured, or they're not talked to where you can really express your emotions, because typically friends are supposed to be the ones that could tell you how it is and tell you your feelings are hurt, and it not be this big blow up, and we can kind of get through this. Unless like you betray me to the point of no return, we can work it out, girl. Like, we've been
Absolutely.
friends this long. No, we're not doing this right
Let's
now.
figure it out.
Let's figure it out.
So it is different when the dynamics change when you get older. But yes, I feel like if you are a woman who hasn't had a lot of friendships, just heal that inner child,
Absolutely.
and then you'll be able to see the type of friend that you need and be that type of friend as well.
And seek the lady. I like to say seek the lady.
Please.
Because I'm getting into therapy, and just for a better me, not even necessarily because I'm not okay or because I'm not, just a better me, and to stifle some things and unfulfilled or left behind trauma that I know that I have, and it affects relationships sometimes for me. So therapy, y'all. Okay. Anyway, so getting back to the accomplishments, the journalism awards, your PR stretch for over a decade, and just being this major, impactful person. You've worked with Def Jams and seeing the emerging artists like Coco Jones, Metro Boomin, and I'm we dropping names up here. Everybody at this point. I don't want to say how has that made you feel, because I'm sure it's made you feel amazingly grateful. But looking back at over a decade worth of work and seeing such a platform flourish, I guess, how does that make you feel all together just to see the fruits of your labor?
It makes me feel blessed, because you're when you're an entrepreneur, you're taking a risk. You're stepping out and doing something. When I first started this, it was so many people that doubted me. It was like, oh, you already got your degree. You got all these accolades. Why don't you just go get a job? This is my job. This is my job. It was a lot of people that would often tell me that. So now when you see your talent being stamped in multiple rooms, in multiple spaces, multiple ways, multiple times, it's not a risk. You're good at what you do. Own it, walk in it, and continue to grow. Like, honestly, it's a blessing to be able to say that I am able to use my God-given talents mixed with my education and my skills and my love for people to make this industry, what it is now when it comes to media girls. I feel like we definitely changed that gatekeeping thing that it came with media. It was so hard to get into these events when I first got into the industry. And now there's 3-4 media group chats where everyone is sharing contacts and sharing resources. It wasn't like that at first. You really had to be invited to get into these doors.
You really had to know.
You really had to know somebody.
It had to be a point of contact. It had to be one particular person that you had to be in contact with to let you in these things.
They wasn't playing like that, and it's so different now, and I love that in a good way, that it's more welcoming. And at the same time, it makes you still have to be, use your discernment as well, because there's a lot more people that you got to sort through as well, too. But it's honestly just a blessing. Out of all the things I've done, the celebrities and all of the accolades and going to the award shows, those things are great.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing for me is being able to know that I took regular females who were in completely different industries and put them in the media industry, and they love it here. And now they're getting booked for hostings, and they're on articles, and they're on covers, and that is it for me.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy for anyone as a publicist. If you got the talent, if you got a top A-list talent, it's easy for you to do your job because brands are throwing themselves at them.
Right.
But when you take a regular Joe or somebody that no one knows, and you're able to make an impact and make them desirable and make people want to work with them, highlight them, build them up, then that means you're really good at what you're doing, and you're on to something. So I think I got a eye for talent for sure.
I will say that you are good at what you do. Just a person that has gotten to work with you and go to some of your events and be a part of that, because I actually was a part of interviewing Coco Jones when she first jumped on the scene with Def Jam. Shout out to Def Jam and Ralph Runner Ant. I see firsthand what you put on, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see, and just because, too, I'm a lover of women and the impact that we can have and the things that we do. My team is women, obviously, so that speaks volumes. And it's not to shade the men. It's just that I feel like we are missing in this space.
Absolutely.
I just feel like we're missing, whether you're the creator, the photographer, the videographer. I'm just like, where are the girls?
Yes.
Where are the girls? So I thank you for that as well, because top tier, okay? Now, in 2023, you established the first ever Black Media Entertainment Day in Fulton County. Talk about how that even came about. Like, how the heck did you get your own? I could have said, "Hey, I'm cursing like I'm somebody auntie." How the hell did you get that? Like, how you pull off getting a whole day in Fulton County?
Okay, so I was always every year giving out awards for Media Girls on Tour, and so the year before I did the proclamations, I got those real fancy glass plaques made. I did a whole theme, the Brown Sugar Social, and we had a whole theme around the Brown Sugar, the movie. B. Simone was one of our honorees, and De'Ara Taylor was one of our honorees. At the time, that event right there really set the tone because, for one, De'Ara don't even come outside. Nobody ever sees her unless you subscribe to her YouTube, baby. So when we got De'Ara, no shade to B. Simone, but the people cared about De'Ara way more than B. Simone. Because, baby, unless you subscribing to YouTube, you're not catching my girl nowhere. Yes. Okay? And so she came out for us. She pulled up. She showed love. All the millennial girls, it was the Gen Z girls.
Yes.
They was going crazy for De'Ara. That's their queen, okay? And that event, I gave out the classic standard glass awards, and I spent so much money on them. Had sponsors pull out at the last minute, and just stupid stuff, right? And so the next year I was like, man, I'm not spending all that money on glass awards. I said, how do I still do impactful awards but not have to spend as much money? Like, how do I level up what we're doing without increasing the overhead? And I had been working with, at the time, Commissioner Natalie Hall from Fulton County. She did amazing work during her term as Commissioner of Fulton County. Definitely miss her support in the city, because she was one of those that always showed up for the media, the arts, and the entertainers when it comes to Fulton County. Got with her, and she was the one that was like, oh, yes, we could do a proclamation for you. I can get this done. At the time, this was my first time doing a proclamation, so I didn't know the steps that it took to, like, actually fill out and complete and get it processed, right? So we did 22 proclamations. Now, I don't know if I'll ever do that many again. So that class of 23, y'all are very, very special because that office said Fulton County told me I had them working overtime, baby.
I know that's
when
right.
they seen it was 23 because you got to fill out so much paperwork. They got to process, print all of this stuff for 23 people. So I had them burning the midnight oil for that one. So we've done maybe like 3 or 4 proclamations doing Media Girls on Tour at a time now, opposed to us doing 23.
Yes.
But yes, baby, I jumped off the porch and I jumped off hard. And it was very impactful. So I do thank God. I wanted to create a Black Media and Entertainment Day because at the time we're dealing with all those the shutdowns and the media industry doesn't really we don't have a system that advocates for us like the filmmakers and the actors. You know what I'm saying? We need our own union. And so that's really my next step on what I'm kind of working on is trying to establish a real union for media and entertainment in the city. And so with the proclamations, I wanted us to have our first day. So now all the media individuals, all the professionals, we need to come together on those days and we need to be doing community service, projects, different events with the city. So our goal this year is to do a slew of events on those days with Fulton County and get some of the celebrities that we have awarded, like Young Jock, to come out and participate and lead those campaigns. It's about us fighting for our rights. Media, we get used and treated the worst than anybody, but we make everything pop. We make everything go viral. We make everything relevant. We make y'all get y'all sales, your sales up, the clicks, all of that. So it's just like put some respect on the media industry. Put some respect on our name. And so that was the main focus for why I wanted to create a Black Media Entertainment Day so that we can advocate for us.
And I don't think, I'm not about to get into your business because I watch everything and I'm nosy. I see a ring on that finger. I see a ring on the finger. I've been seeing you on Threads. Talk about it, girl. Hold on. Black Love has entered the chat.
Yes.
We're engaged.
Definitely.
Is this your first time talking about it? Am I getting an exclusive?
You really are because I haven't made it like a social media or like a public announcement yet. I went through so much in that area that it was just kind of like, let me live in a moment. Let me enjoy. Let me enjoy what I have.
Yes.
Because media and everything else I got going on, just for me.
Yes. I mean, that's good.
I'm really happy, and I am gonna do like eventually a public announcement. By that time, I've been engaged forever. But yes, no, I did get engaged at the end of last year, and God has just been doing His big one. I could have been in this space years ago. It was about mindset for me.
Okay.
I feel like as someone who's constantly giving and pouring into other people, that I in the past would let people run me raggedy and continue to hurt me over and over again. And it's like when you have a big heart, you keep on giving people these opportunities and chances, but it is what it looks like the very first time. And that's what I learned, that I didn't have to go through so much heartbreak a whole bunch of time to get the love that I deserve and the respect that I deserve. This man came in less than a year, wasn't playing no games. Wasn't playing no games. He said he already knew when he came what his plan was.
Oh, that's
and when
right.
a man has a plan for you, they're not going to waste your time.
To the girls who are looking to enter this space and become not only one of us, I would say, in the media girl space, but just an entrepreneur, because we are seeing that. I don't want to say that trend because it's not a trend, because obviously we need to get out of these corporate jobs anyway. But who wants to enter this space and think they can't? What's the advice?
My advice for anyone that wants to enter this space and that thinks they can is that you can. Get in the field. Get busy. Whatever it is you want to do, stop letting that imposter syndrome hold you back. Stop letting great ideas and content stay in your head and in your drafts. Because you ain't going to make you no money in the drafts. You ain't going to get you no reach in your drafts.
Talking to me, I got a lot of stuff in my drafts.
Publish. Publish now. Go in there. Publish now. Post. Get in the field. And the biggest thing I tell women, because this is, I hate how people try to put women against each other. In this industry, you need somebody. You need other women. You need relationships. So if you're coming in this industry with sort of a narcissistic vibe where you feel like you want it to be all about you and you don't want to work with anybody else, and you think girls are trying to copy you, and you want to gatekeep opportunities when you barely even got any because you've been in the industry 2 days. Girl, I've seen it all. Like, baby, if y'all be one trick ponies, not even really doing anything that really sets you apart, and thinking you got something to gatekeep.
Okay.
You haven't even got your feet wet, my love. Y'all have to learn to stop coming in and operating like you have low self-esteem. Get in these groups, get in these communities, stand next to other women, work with other women, and build together. Every time I see a woman come in and she want to be so much about herself that she exits herself out from other women, they end up on the outside looking in, not heard from, ain't seen them on your timeline in 2 years, baby. Don't even remember these people ever existed. Because you didn't know how to be a girl's girl. You didn't know how to come in and work with other people. You didn't know how to network. You didn't know how to use your resources the way you needed to. So my advice would be learn from the people that you admire by offering something to them. Don't use people. Stop coming in and thinking people that don't work 10 years want to come and mentor you for free. Baby, we don't even have time for that. Come in and offer yourself. That's how I got my foot in the door, my first internship and mentorship. I came in and I fixed something. I started running her social media. I started putting her on game, helping her, finding content for her radio show. Add value to these people. If you want to be in the mix, add value. Stop using people and thinking that the world owes you something. They don't. Amen. Get up, put that work in, build with other women. Don't be a mean girl. Join communities and know how to work with other women. If you're a woman that does not know how to work with other women, you don't know how to work with anybody, I mean, you might as well just give up before you start. Okay. Because with media, you need someone to stamp you. It's going to be somebody that's going to check those credentials at the door. You need somebody that's going to send those invites. If you don't have a relationship with them, you're not invited. If you cross them, you're not invited. So sometimes you're going to be on a carpet. You may be by yourself. Your video person may fail. You might have forgot your SIM card. Your camera might have died. You might need a charger. If you can't tap the woman next to you on the carpet and ask because you got bad vibes and nobody wants to deal with you, good luck on being successful in this industry. Not wrong. I have seen it, baby. They come and go they go just as quick as they come, honey. So I love a confident queen that knows how to work in this industry. Those are going to be the ones that are going to remain. Get in here, learn, and work with other people and build. Absolutely. Absolutely. Drop the Instagram, social media, all of the things for the people. Absolutely. Guys, y'all can connect with me on my personal is THA Baddest RHO for Row, The Baddest Row. And then also we Media Girls Network, Media Girls on Tour, Media Girls Mag, Media Girls Marketing and PR, everything Media Girls, you can find me on. And also, you can connect with us on the website, MediaGirlsNetwork.com or MediaGirlsOnTour.com. Thank you so much for joining me today. Y'all heard her get in the field, and that was probably for me too. I need to get back in the field. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much, and congrats on that ring on your finger, girl. So I'll be waiting for the announcement. I better be getting an invitation in a minute. Yes, ma'am. I love me a wedding child. This is You're in the Right Place pod with me, Ebony Kiera. Bye, y'all. It's your host, Ebony, here with You're in the Right Place podcast. And as we wrap up season 1 and start season 2, I want the guests bigger, badder, better, all of the things. So I need y'all to tap in with me. If you want to be a guest, please message me on IG, message the page at Ebony Kiera or You're in the Right Place pod, YITRP pod, just in case you missed it, YITRP pod. Let us know if you want to be a guest, if you want to get into some things and really sit on this couch and be vulnerable and conversational and just chat with me. Hit me up.